Live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello everyone, this is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. As always, thank you for joining us. We are live here broadcasting from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. We are live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, our website, and our apps. So all great places to find this show, not only live, but also afterward with all the various conversations we get to have. But right now, this is one probably a lot of people are starting to see this, maybe on social media, maybe in a newscast, maybe somewhere else. But the topic of venomous flying spiders. We're not talking about some new horror movie. It's not a new superhero movie. It is actually about a spider that is here in the U.S. in certain places. But how venomous is it? Is it actually flying? There's a lot of details that need to be worked out. And I know a lot of people in Oregon have been making phone calls and are concerned about it, probably just like a lot of other places. So we wanted to get down to the bottom line of what is going on with this and what we really need to know. And to do so, we wanted somebody local to come on here and talk to us. And that's what we've got right here. We've got Jake Claus, who joins us from Natura Pest Control, president and founder. And I know so much more too. And Jake, first off, thank you for joining us. I really, really appreciate you having the time to be here today to talk about this. I mean, just that title alone, venomous flying spider, can be a little bit unnerving naturally. But before we go any further, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself as well?
Yeah, thanks. First of all, Greg, thanks for having me on the show. It's cool to be here. So, my name is Jake Klaus. I'm the president founder of Natura Pest Control. I'm an associate certified entomologist, nearly 20 years in the pest control industry. And Natura has been in business now going on 11 years. We service the Portland, Vancouver, greater metro area.
And so you definitely know a lot about this when it comes down to it, just your certifications alone right there. I mean, so help us all understand, for those that don't know, have just seen this title, and I'll admit, I don't know a lot about this either. What exactly is this all about?
Okay, so this is great. We got a customer that called in earlier today and said, "Oh my gosh, I heard about these venomous flying spiders," and she was terrified and she wanted to know what was going on. So, anyways, I did a little bit of research, and there are a lot of misnomers happening here with this venomous flying spider. And I guess we'll get into that, but yeah, that's how this came across our desk.
People are calling in, they're seeing that title and naturally being a little bit worried about it. So I know that there is some basis in truth to this. Can you help us understand where this all came from?
Sure, absolutely. So just like every myth, there might be some basis in truth. So I guess if we break it down, let's look at venomous flying spiders. So first of all, you can pepper some truth in here, because theoretically every spider is venomous to some degree or another. But you have to make the distinction between venomous and medically significant. Medically significant means that the bite is going to be dangerous to humans in some way. So there you're talking about like black widow spiders, yellow sac spiders. We're talking about brown recluse spiders, which we don't have in this part of the country. So that part is technically true. All spiders are venomous in some degree, but this spider, this Joro spider, is not a medically significant spider.
So it's not something that really you end up having to worry about, should you even encounter one.
Correct. Yeah, and in fact, like most large spiders, so the female, when we're talking about spiders, typically we look at the body size. A female Joro spider, and that's Joro, Jaro, Joro. So the female's body size can be up to an inch, and the male's body size, males are always smaller in the spider world, about 0.4 inches. So it can be pretty, you add the legs in there, this can be a pretty large spider. However, like most large spiders, they're usually pretty docile, and they're not, going to run at you and attack you like you've probably seen in movies like Arachnophobia. That's not in their nature.
So if you do, yeah, so they're not going to be flying around with wings, bombing your head. So,
No,
which I'm sure some
and
people
that's
are
the
picturing
other.
that.
That's what people picture, right? And we get all kinds of calls from people, and there's a lot of mythology surrounding the insect world. So that leads us to the next word, flying. Venomous flying spiders. Uh, Biologically, spiders cannot fly. Arachnids do not have wings. They don't even have false wings. So there's no such thing as a spider that can fly technically using wings. However, a lot of spiders demonstrate uh, a dispersal method called ballooning, where when the juvenile spider is really, really young, it'll send up a thread of web. And it has been believed for a really long time that the web is caught on the wind and blown on the wind. However, there's been a lot of research that's come out that has shown that not only do they disperse on the wind, but actually they pick up electrical currents um, in the air, in the atmosphere, and they travel electrically through
What?
currents.
I think that's
Yeah,
scarier than wings.
right. Yeah, yeah. Well, it can be because uh, the wind can blow and then stop in some places, whereas this electromagnetic field basically circumnavigates the globe. So there's some research that shows that Joro spiders can travel up to 100 miles, in a dispersal method.
I don't know if that alleviates
Yeah.
any concerns. I'm going to be honest with you,
Right.
right there.
Yeah.
So they
You
could
know,
travel.
people are gonna look at that and go, I don't care if they have wings or if they fly by pixie dust. The fact that they're traveling through the air is still, kind of scary.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
dispersing. So right now, from what I understand, they're over on the East Coast. Is that correct? Just to verify that.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. So they were introduced. This is an invasive species that was introduced from East Asia. They're thinking probably Japan. But it inhabits Japan and China and other East Asian countries. And it first showed up in Georgia in I think 2014. So it's been in the U.S. for about a decade. Mostly right now, though, they're finding it. They're finding it in those kind of southern states, but they are expecting it to make a big appearance in New York and along the eastern seaboard this year. 2024 is the arrival date. Yeah.
And since it can, potentially travel that far and disperse that far, I guess,
hmm
what is the potential of this making its way across the United States all the way to the West Coast?
Well, theoretically, there's really no stopping any bugs or insects from traveling. A lot of the invasive species that are introduced to different parts of the world come in freight, in shipping, in other transport. There's actually a researcher, I think, from the University of Georgia, who accidentally transported one of these spiders in his luggage to Oklahoma. And so I don't know if you have to. There's probably a lot of paperwork involved in that for a university student, but yeah, I mean theoretically, all invasive species can travel from one place to the next. Oftentimes, you're looking at issues of survivability. Can it survive in the new climate? Such as every once in a while there will be a confirmed brown recluse spider in the Pacific Northwest here, but the climate just doesn't really support the proliferation of some insects and arachnids. Now,
Would
with
this
that said, however, I will just follow it up by saying the research is showing that because this spider came out of Japan, which has a very similar climate to the United States, the survivability of the Joro spider across the entire country is pretty great. So technically, if it arrived here, it could thrive.
Now, one thing with this, since we've gone through this, it's not a medical worry for humans. However, when it comes to the environment, how much damage could a spider like this do?
Okay, so that's the funny thing. I mean, people are freaked out by spiders. For a lot of people, the only spider is a dead spider. The only good spider is a dead spider. So people have this idea of this massive spider, and it's going to eat people and whatever, But the interesting thing is that the Joro spider is actually closely related to the Argiope or orb weaver spiders. So when you look out in your garden and you see that concentric web, the shiny body, the yellow body of those garden spiders, the Joro spiders in the same. It's like a cousin to those. So technically, it's actually not dangerous at all. It's agriculturally, it's a beneficial spider. And there was one area. I don't think it was the United States, but they're trying to figure out how to use these electrical currents to disperse spiders into like orchards and agricultural areas because it's organic pest control. These Joro spiders, they eat insects, and there was one report that I read that actually said that the Joro spider being introduced into other parts of the country could be really beneficial. And the interesting thing, the reason why it could be beneficial here is because about a decade or more ago, 12 or 13 years ago, the brown marmorated stink bug was introduced. So everybody knows the stink bug. They got that shield-shaped body.
Hmm.
They're a real pest of fruit trees, and they have no natural predators, so they have proliferated in the Pacific Northwest. But the Joro spider is one spider that is known to prey on brown marmorated stink bugs. So not only are they not really a threat, they actually could be of agricultural benefit here in the Northwest.
So the Joro spider could actually be helping out here in the Northwest of getting rid of a different invasive species.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
Surprising twist, turn of events.
yeah, seriously. So I guess we need to get those, the electrical currents set up to encourage them to get here, which seems still so weird to me.
Right.
So going from that, this is a really good education on the Joro spider. So I've learned a lot right there. But looking for people here in the Northwest, is there any specific venomous bug or some kind of, I say bug just as a general catch-all term. I'm sure that's not technically correct, but is there any kind of general venomous pest or anything that people should actually be concerned about here in the Northwest?
You know what? Yeah, that's a great question, and you did ask that correctly. There's a difference between venomous and poisonous. Venomous is it's an outside thing; it's injected in, like a spider or a wasp. Whereas poisonous means that you ingest it. So hopefully people aren't being poisoned by bugs.
Yeah.
That means you got to eat it. But yeah, they're the venomous insects that we would want to be cautious of are going to be yellow sac spiders. They can be medically significant. They can cause a lesion. And then, it also just depends on the person's sensitivity. People can they can have an anaphylactic reaction to
Sure.
wasps and yellow jackets and bees. Mosquitoes are another problem. They can spread some diseases. So the cool thing about being in the Pacific Northwest is that we really don't have a lot of really dangerous insects and arachnids like they do, say, across the southern states and in other parts of the world. We're kind of lucky up here with that.
So that is good to know. I mean, this is a lot of great information that you've shared here with us today. Learning about the Joro spider. Don't worry about it. Being the big takeaway that I'm getting from that. The things to be concerned with here in the Northwest. And I know, Jake, you also have some other ways for people just to be educated, whether it's in your field or the general public. And if you don't mind, would love to have you share some of the other stuff that you do.
Right. Yeah. Well, people don't like pests and bugs and arachnids in their house in general. And pest control is actually a very, very important part of our society. There are a lot of pests, insects, and rodents that can spread disease, that can cause illness. And so having a professional pest service that takes care of issues at your home or your business or in public places is very important. Rats and mice can spread diseases. A lot of insects they can carry bacteria and things and infest food. So just in general, having a pest service that provides regular treatment at your home and can be there in between when you need it is super important. It not only does it keep your home free from things that could potentially cause problems, but it just people don't want to share their homes with bugs. And out there in nature, insects can thrive. But I think that most people in general want to have their own little square on planet Earth that is free from arachnids and insects and rodents.
Yeah, I can 100% agree on that. That I definitely do. Well, Jake, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us today. Anything else that you want to let people know about?
If you see spiders in your garden, generally leave them alone. The spiders are there; they're doing good. There's a lot of insects in your garden that mean harm. Spiders are never going to chew up your leaves. They're never going to eat the plants. They're never going to infest your fruit and destroy your crops. So if you see a spider in your garden, just leave it alone.
Leave it alone. Well, Jake,
Leave it alone. Yep.
thank you so much for joining us. Really, really appreciate you being on here today. This has been, highly informative, and yeah, thanks for joining us here on Fox 12 Now.
My pleasure, Greg. Nice talking to you.
Yeah, great to talk to you too. And for everybody watching, we are live here. We're live streaming from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. As you can see, there's always activity going on behind me, and that's because this is an active newsroom, and I'm in a corner of it right over here with our cameras all set up. So thanks for joining us. We live stream on Facebook, YouTube, our website, and our apps. I do encourage downloading that Fox 12 Oregon app on whatever platform you're on. That way you can watch these segments when they're live, but also afterward. And of course, you can share them across all of your platforms as well, especially something like this that we've all been seeing and hearing about, the venomous flying spider. I think we dispelled a lot of those concerns here with this. So huge thank you to Jake. Coming up at 2:30 p.m., we're going to switch gears. We'll be back live. We've actually got the afternoon DJ for Z100 joining us, Rain, who's going to be talking about iHeartMedia. So that's coming up at 2:30 p.m. So you can join me right back on whatever platform you are on right then. But I'll sign off right now. We'll regroup. I'll talk to you soon. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.